roof of Europe. Glaciers, snowfields 15,000 feet high in the Swiss Alps. For centuries, the only means of transport here has been the mule. But now, 4 Swiss pilots have perfected a new technique for landing light aircraft in these mountains. They fly from Sion in the Rhone Valley, and they take on any sort of delivery job for the Swiss Alpine Club's mountain cabins. Civil and military pilots now come to Sion to learn this new technique. Three of the 4 Sion Glacier pilots are professionals. They all have more than 1,500 glacier landings to their credit. When weather permits, they fly regular delivery trips, sometimes as many as 25 flights a day. Trips which once took 2 days by mule now take half an hour. And they even take the firewood by air. $400 to £500 of provisions, bread, eggs, wine, everything needed for the mountain cabins is stowed behind the pilot. Sometimes he even carries dynamite for engineers working in the mountains. The plane's skis, built around the wheels, can be raised and lowered by the pilot. The one amateur of Sion's 4-man glacier team is 39-year-old John Gessler. He's a married man with 3 children, and his job is publishing. But when he can get away, he's flying. Glacier pilots, he says, have to keep their hand in. He circles Sion to get sufficient height to clear the nearby mountains. Soon he's over the snowfields, where his knowledge of mountains has to be allied to his skill as a pilot. Now he goes in, landing on an incline to shorten the run. At full throttle, he pulls the plane up the slope. Out with the supplies. They are stacked on the glacier to be collected later by the keeper of the cabin, who would have a 2-hour climb to reach them. At full throttle, the lightened Piper sets off on the downhill run, gaining speed for a quick takeoff. But life for the glacier pilot is not always routine. Mountains can be serene and beautiful. But for the mountaineer, danger lurks at every foothold. The weather deteriorates. A rock isn't as secure as it looks. A rope slips. Fingers sometimes aren't strong enough. Back at Sion, everything is quiet. 3 pilots are on routine delivery trips. A call for help comes direct from a mountain cabin. Get a ski plane ready quickly.
Tout de suite, oui. Un instant, merci.
Armand! Oui. Il faut vite venir, tu vas préparer un avion.
The club's mechanic checks the plane. Madam Geiger, who runs the Aero Club office, calls the amateur glacier pilot John Gessler at his office. This is an emergency. And during the summer, Sion Aero Club gets as many as 6 such calls a week. And since 1952, there have been about 1,000 rescues. Who is to pay for the aircraft? Who will be responsible if the pilot doesn't come back from this trip? These questions are never asked. He goes, and that's all.
La benzine et l'huile, c'est alors de moteur et chaud.
Bon, non, merci.
From the Rhone Valley, Gessler heads up one of the valleys, one of the gateways to the high snow-covered regions, gaining height all the time. The mountains prevent the use of radio, so Gessler relies on local knowledge, picking his way from valley to valley, crag to crag, to the area where the climbers were reported. As he approaches, he goes down low over the snow to get his eyes accustomed to the glare. Sunglasses distort distance, fatal for landing, so glacier pilots rarely use them. Over the wicked-looking crevasses, those cracks in the glacier are often more than 1,000 feet deep. Then suddenly he spots the climbers, two tiny figures against a desert of snow. The question now is to land without mishap. Is the snow fluted with an icy surface that'll smash a ski? He mustn't smash a ski. He mustn't smash anything. He must get down there in one piece. Down he comes, watching for any sign of crevasses hidden beneath a thin layer of powder snow, watching for sudden changes of wind. The snow surface is like water. You're never quite sure how near it is. But unlike water, it's hard, very hard. There's no turning back now. He's got to come in. With the plane securely anchored across the slope, in very cold weather they leave the engine ticking over. Gessler loses no time. He's brought a special lightweight adjustable splint, which will prevent further damage to the broken leg while the climber is being got into the confined space behind the pilot's seat. It's only 20 minutes flying time from here to hospital, but without the plane, it would take 2 days, which could be fatal for a seriously injured man. The inside of the plane is no more than 30 inches wide, but with the passenger seat removed, the injured man's legs can go up inside the fuselage, his shoulders against the back of the pilot's seat. They get him in just as heavy cloud begins to creep across the glacier. If the weather holds, Gessler will be back. If it doesn't, the other climber will make for the nearest alpine cabin. And now that crashing downhill takeoff again, fully loaded this time. Full throttle and a kick on the rudder bar pulls the tail round. The skis begin to slide, and soon she's racing down, crashing over the hard snow until, yes, she lifts. And she's away on the most important delivery job of all.